Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the backstory. If you're new here, kindly hit that subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified whenever we post a new video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you a question. That is JB Muturi, the former Attorney General of Kenya, on his way out of President Ruto's cabinet? What do you think? Is he on his way out? The reason as to why I'm asking this is because today, the former Attorney General, who is a cabinet secretary in President Ruto's cabinet, held a press conference and he fell short of resigning. And according to our sources today, apparently JB Muturi was going to resign. But I don't know what happened. That is according to our sources that we cannot name. He was going to resign. But let's listen into his press conference. Then we'll come back and analyze.
So ladies and gentlemen, and dear countrymen, I've been quiet for some time now. And many people have been asking me where the country is heading and where we are. And so I would like to state as follows. I joined the Kenya Kwanza coalition owing to the fact that the principles that they espoused are in tandem with the principles of the party I belong to, namely the Democratic Party of Kenya. Many friends and political colleagues at the time warned me against joining the coalition. But at a personal level, I was persuaded that will be driven by the ideals and the values that the coalition stated as a hustler nation to do the best for the people of Kenya. One of the things we had accused the past regimes of was the existence of disappearances and extrajudicial killings of Kenyans, and we vowed that we would never, at our watch, condone or allow such. We stated this time and time again in the lead up to the last general election. Today, there has been a number of abductions and in some cases unexplained deaths since the Gen Z revolts of June last year. And it is unfortunate as most of the people being abducted and or killed are our youth, leaving the parents, relatives, and friends, other family members in a state of confusion and loss. I have personally served as my son was abducted and disappeared, and I was not sure whether he was alive or dead, making us anxious and leaving me and my wife and the rest of the family in turmoil. It must be remembered that at that time, I was the serving Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, and as is well known, a member of the National Security Council as comprised under Article 240 of the Constitution. Despite making several requests, I was unable to trace my son, and I made demands to all the levels of the security apparatus of the country. Now, more than 6 months later, after that ordeal and the release of my son by unknown forces, he has not been charged with any offense, and the government at all levels has not been able to give me any explanation or reasons as to his abduction by hooded armed gangsters.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is JB Muturi, the former Attorney General of Kenya. So someone would want to ask, what triggered this press conference? Yeah, you can't forgive him because the current abductions that are happening in the country must have triggered the memories of what happened to his son. And as a dad, he must have been asked so many questions. You know, remember, JB Muturi was the Attorney General of Kenya then when his son was abducted. And you'd expect someone of that stature to have the power to get information from who is who in the security sector. And just as he has said, I don't know, it has not been I think it has not been mentioned in that video, but if you listen to that press brief by the former Attorney General, he said that he tried calling all the top guys in the security sector in this country. And up to now, no one has given him information about who abducted his son, what they wanted, where he was detained. So you'd expect that even in his own family, or his own son might have asked him, or is still asking, he wants to know what happened. So the recent abductions and alleged killings must have triggered the former Attorney General to come out and talk about these abductions. But one question that you'd want to ask is, you know, this is a very senior person in President Ruto's government who sits and attends cabinet meetings. Like, they used to do them on a weekly basis, but these days they don't do them. And you'd expect that a person of that stature would have all the information that is needed on these abductions. If a senior person in government, someone of his stature, does not know who is doing all these abductions and is asking the government to act, so who is this government? It's like the government asking the government to act on abductions. And no one is answering Kenyans. So what is happening? Who is in charge at the end of the day? That is what Kenyans are. Who is in charge of this country? Because you'd expect that after President Ruto said that they were going to stop these abductions, there's what we call collective responsibility in the cabinet. What you'd have expected JB Muturi to do was to maybe raise some of these issues in a cabinet meeting. But from what he has said, from what you can deduce from his press briefing, is that he is someone who looked kind of frustrated. So the only place that he thought it would be better to address some of these issues is in the court of public opinion. And that is why he came out after maybe being frustrated. And when I started, I asked you one question, that do you think JB Muturi is on his way out of this cabinet or President Ruto's government? Why I asked that question is because of two reasons. One is what we've just talked about, the fact that he came out and addressed this government or President Ruto's government through the press, which is uncalled for because of the collective responsibility in the cabinet. Take two. Now, the second issue, you remember, I think it's 2 weeks ago, and I think I've done a video about the same, when JB Muturi represented President Ruto at a burial in Embu, and they were burying a son to a very prominent politician in Embu. So JB Muturi was supposed to read the president's condolence message. What happened? The residents of Embu rejected that speech. And if you looked at JB Muturi's body language, and I said in the previous video that JB Muturi had no intention. If you read his body language, it's like he had no intention of reading that president's condolence message.
I've been given a message of condolence from His Excellency the President, yeah, I have given my message of condolence to Honorable Lene Kebuti. I have given my message of condolence to Honorable Lene Kebuti. Yangu ni kweli, nimetoa yangu, si ni kweli? Sasa mimi pale nimefika mwisho, ni kusema nimepokea ujumbe, ya? Niwapatie, mnasema hivyo? Ha? Nisome nisisome? I have been advised wisely, you know, as a former speaker. As a former speaker, na mnajua the late JJ Kamodho used to say, talk about kura ya makelele. Nimesikia kura hiyo ya makelele. Yeah? This message is to the family of the Honorable Senator Lene Kebuti. I have the honor to deliver this message to the Honorable Lene Kebuti in public.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at that video, you're able to tell that JB Muturi, when guys started to murmur, he just let it go. He did not even try to persuade them. He did not even try to talk to guys to give him time to even read so that they could even listen. He just let it go. So it's like all these things started boiling like some months back. It's something that has been developing. And that points to what I asked. It points to what I asked, that is JB Muturi on his way out? It's like he is frustrated. And then the third issue that might make JB Muturi to leave President Ruto's government is the fact that President Ruto is becoming unpopular in central Kenya. And associating yourself with him, if you have political ambitions heading to 2027, might not make you win a political post in 2027. And rumors that we have is that JB Muturi is eyeing the Embu gubernatorial post. He wants to be the governor of Embu. So for him to win that post, one, he will have to resign and seek election on a party which is popular in central Kenya, that is in Embu. And the best way to do it would be to resign, get a reason to resign from that position, or to be sacked. You know, when he is sacked by President Ruto, he will get the public kind of sympathy. He will have a reason to now attack this government and endear himself to the electorates of Embu. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, I think JB Muturi, however much he has raised very, very valid questions, valid issues and questions that this government needs to address, which are to tell Kenyans who is abducting these young guys and to address this issue once and for all. I believe that it's just a matter of time before JB Muturi resigns from President Ruto's government. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me tonight. If you're new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified whenever we post a new video. But until next time, bye-bye.